Let me ask you a question. What would happen if for just 3 days you spoke to yourself like you were destined to win? Not just casually, I mean with authority, like your words had the power to shape your tomorrow, because they do. Some of y'all have been talking to yourselves like victims, like you're stuck, like you've already lost the game before you even stepped on the field. But let me tell you something that will change everything. Your life moves in the direction of your most dominant conversation. And the first conversation you need to change is the one you're having with you. Your words are not just sounds, they are seeds. Every time you speak, you are planting something into the soil of your life. And the crazy part, that soil doesn't care whether it's good seed or bad. It will grow whatever you give it. If you keep saying things like, I'm not good enough, or nothing ever works out for me, then guess what? Your life will align itself with that declaration. Not because it's true, but because you believed it and repeated it until it became your reality. Words are the architects of your experience. You cannot consistently speak against your potential and expect to walk in power. That's like trying to build a mansion on a foundation of sand. Your inner world is created by your internal dialogue. The battle isn't out there, it's in your mouth. You frame your future by what you say when nobody's listening, by the silent affirmations or accusations you repeat daily. Your words either prepare a place for your purpose or build a prison for your potential. The difference between a breakthrough and a breakdown is often just one conversation with yourself. Some people think they're waiting on a miracle, but truthfully, their miracle is waiting on their mouth to agree with their assignment. The power is already in them, but they've muted it with negative speech. It's not just what others say about you that matters, it's what you say when you're alone in the dark, facing the weight of your fears that determines what comes next. When you say, I am successful, your brain starts searching for ways to make that true. Your spirit begins to rise, your posture shifts, your habits elevate. But say, I'm always messing up, and everything in you works to confirm that. Your subconscious mind doesn't argue, it just obeys. That's why you have to stop speaking defeat and start declaring destiny. Even if your situation hasn't changed yet, your language has to shift first. Faith isn't silent, it speaks. And when you speak faith, you create space for possibility. Speaking words of life doesn't mean you ignore reality. It means you choose to align your voice with a higher truth than your current facts. It means you're no longer giving your tongue permission to sabotage your future. You refuse to speak small when you serve a big purpose. You stop rehearsing pain and start proclaiming promise. So many people disqualify themselves, not because they lack ability, but because they keep speaking limitation. They've got talent, they've got ideas, but their own voice is robbing them. Every time they open their mouth, they reinforce a version of themselves that no longer fits who they're becoming. They're echoing their past instead of declaring their purpose. And as long as you do that, you'll keep getting results that match the old version of you. Your words create the atmosphere for your life. You can either curse your environment or command it to shift. You have the power to walk into a room and say, peace lives here, and it will. You have the authority to wake up and say, this is the day where everything changes, and watch how everything starts moving in that direction. But most people don't tap into that power because they're too used to using their mouth to describe what is instead of what can be. Don't underestimate the weight of your words. They're not harmless. They either partner with your potential or poison your progress. That's why you can't afford to be casual with your language. Every I can't pushes the dream back. Every I'm not ready delays the destiny. But every I will, every I am, every this is my time pulls the future closer. The more you speak like the person you're becoming, the faster you'll meet them. The people who win in life are not the ones who wait for the perfect opportunity. They're the ones who speak it until they see it. Their words go ahead of them like a blueprint, and then their actions follow. If you want to see change in your life, the first thing you need to change is the way you talk. Not to others, but to yourself. Because until your words agree with where you're going, you'll always end up where you've been. There is a war happening every single day, and it's not external, it's internal. It's the battle between what's happened to you and what's possible for you. And that battle is often won or lost with your words. Too many people wake up every morning and the first thing they do is rehearse defeat. They remind themselves of everything that went wrong yesterday, every mistake they made last week, every door that didn't open. But that kind of talk is toxic. It's not just conversation, it's construction. Every word of defeat builds a life you don't want to live. When you speak defeat, you invite discouragement to sit at your table. You give fear the authority to drive your decisions. And it becomes a cycle. You speak it, you start to believe it, then you start to live it. That's why speaking destiny is not optional if you want to walk in purpose. You cannot live in the power of your calling while speaking the language of your captivity. You've got to stop telling the story of failure and start declaring the vision of the future. Even if it sounds crazy, even if nobody else believes it, your words are the key to your alignment. Destiny responds to voice activation. It doesn't unlock until you speak it. Too many people are waiting for a sign to move forward, but the sign is in their mouth. It's not just about saying positive things. It's about speaking prophetic things, speaking to where you're going, not where you've been. The problem is most people are fluent in frustration and struggle to speak vision. They've rehearsed what went wrong so long that they've forgotten how to call what's right into existence. There's a version of you that only emerges when you speak like a leader, when you talk like someone who knows their life matters. You don't have to be perfect. You don't even have to be where you want to be yet. But you do have to talk like it's possible. You have to start saying things like, I was born for greatness. I'm here on purpose. And there's a reason I woke up today. That's not arrogance, that's agreement. Agreement with the truth of your potential. Speaking defeat will always feel easier at first because defeat is familiar, it's safe, it's comfortable. But familiar does not mean faithful, and comfort doesn't create legacy. Destiny is forged in discomfort, in stretching, in speaking things that scare you because they're bigger than what you've seen. And the only way to bring those things closer is to start talking like they already belong to you. You don't wait for the breakthrough to speak destiny. You speak destiny until the breakthrough shows up. There's a sound that comes from people who know they're called to something greater. It's not loud, but it's firm. It's not arrogant, but it's unshakable. It's a declaration that says, I know what I see doesn't match what I believe, but I refuse to stop believing. It's the sound of a person who refuses to partner with defeat ever again. Every time they open their mouth, they aren't describing their situation, they're commanding their future. The power of speaking destiny is that it changes your identity. You start calling yourself by a new name. You stop saying, I'm just trying to make it, and start saying, I was made for this. You stop saying nothing ever works out for me and start saying everything is working for my good. That shift may seem small, but it's massive. Because what you call yourself determines what you allow yourself to receive. You cannot receive what you won't declare. Some people are living lives that are way beneath their calling, not because they're not capable, but because they never gave their future a voice. The most powerful thing you can do for your future is speak like you trust it's coming. Speak like it's already in motion. Speak like the doors are already opening, like the favor is already flowing, like the opportunities are already aligning, even if nobody claps for you, even if no one else sees it yet. Because your destiny doesn't need their validation. It needs your voice. It needs your agreement. It needs your belief in the form of bold declaration. You don't need perfect conditions to speak destiny. You need discipline. You need vision. You need the courage to open your mouth in the middle of a storm and say, this is not where it ends. You need the boldness to look at your bank account, your business, your broken relationships and say, this is not the full story. Because when you speak like your destiny is inevitable, your life begins to align with that inevitability. Everything starts to shift. Not because your situation changed, but because your speech did. Your mouth is not just a part of your body, it's the control center of your destiny. The words you speak are not random, and they're not empty. They're the steering wheel of your life. Wherever your mouth goes, your life follows. If you talk defeat, your life bends toward failure. If you talk vision, your life starts to rearrange itself to bring that vision to pass. Most people don't realize they're driving themselves into frustration, not because of what others have done, but because of what they keep saying. There are people who are gifted, talented, full of potential, but their mouths are keeping them in the same place. They pray for change, but speak like victims. They desire elevation, but their mouth keeps circling the same mountain. You cannot speak stagnation and expect movement. You cannot curse your life Monday through Saturday and expect breakthrough on Sunday. Your words are either driving you toward purpose or dragging you into problems. You're not stuck because of your ability. You're stuck because of your language. Think about it. When a driver turns the wheel, even slightly, the entire vehicle begins to move in that direction. It may not feel dramatic at first, but keep driving and you'll end up somewhere completely different. That's how your mouth works. A small shift in the way you talk, just replacing I can't with I will, can put you on a whole new trajectory. It may not seem big in the moment, but over time, it completely redirects your path. Your words are always taking you somewhere. The only question is, do you like where you're headed? Some people are living in emotional traffic because they keep circling old conversations. They're saying the same things they said 5 years ago about themselves, their future, their dreams, and wondering why nothing's moving. But you can't go forward when your mouth is locked in reverse. You have to start speaking like where you're going matters. You have to start talking like you believe there's more ahead. Your words must become the engine of your faith, not the echo of your fear. The mouth will always reveal what's really driving the person. If you listen closely, you'll hear whether someone is driven by doubt or destiny, whether they are steering toward breakthrough or breakdown. Words don't lie. They expose alignment. That's why your language must be intentional. Every sentence you speak is like a turn signal. You're signaling to the world and to your own spirit what direction you're committed to. If you keep saying you're tired, overwhelmed, not good enough, then don't be surprised when your life starts to feel like that. There's power in speaking even before you see the result. That's how you know you're using your mouth to steer, not to describe. Too many people treat their words like a report, just saying what's happening instead of directing what's about to happen. Your words were never meant to just echo your current reality. They were meant to create a new one. That's why successful people speak possibility. That's why leaders speak vision, because they understand their words have the authority to shift everything around them. If your life feels out of alignment, start by checking the direction of your declarations. What are you consistently saying about your business, about your family, about your purpose? If your mouth is full of limitation, your life will be limited. If your mouth is full of prophecy, your life will be full of progress. The shift begins with your speech. If you want to turn the wheel, change the words. Don't let your mouth betray your mission. There are moments when your mouth will have to speak in opposition to what your eyes see. That's the test. That's when you learn if you're leading with faith or feelings. Anyone can talk big when things are going right, But can you declare victory in the middle of the valley? Can you open your mouth and say, I'm still called, I'm still chosen, I'm still moving forward, even when your situation says otherwise? That's how you take control of the wheel. That's how you refuse to let the wrong road become your permanent destination. The greatest leaders, visionaries, and change makers all understood the power of speech. They didn't talk about what was, they talked about what could be. They used their mouths to steer their generation. And so can you. Every time you speak life, you're turning your life toward it. Every time you declare favor, you're drawing it closer. And every time you cancel doubt with words of faith, you're tightening your grip on the wheel and taking back control from the chaos. So many people are drifting through life not because they lack power, but because they've stopped using their steering wheel. They've let their mouth go on autopilot. They're speaking carelessly, reacting emotionally, and wondering why they feel like passengers in their own story. But the truth is, your mouth was never meant to be idle. It was designed to drive. The moment you start speaking with intention, authority, and clarity is the moment your life starts responding with direction, momentum, and breakthrough. Negative thoughts are not harmless. They don't just sit in your mind quietly. They grow roots. They influence your decisions, shape your self-permit, and frame the way you interpret the world around you. The more you entertain them, the more they start to feel like truth. But just because a thought feels familiar doesn't mean it belongs to your future. That's the trap, recycling the same fears, doubts, and insecurities over and over until they become your default language. And then you wonder why your life isn't moving forward. It's because you're carrying yesterday's mindset into today's mission. You can't conquer what you constantly coddle. A negative thought that is allowed to stay will always find a way to sabotage your progress. It doesn't matter how big your dream is. If your mind is flooded with recycled doubt, you'll talk yourself out of what God has already prepared for you. This is why your mental dialogue matters more than any external voice, because what you repeat becomes what you believe, and what you believe shapes what you reach for. Recycling negative thoughts creates a cycle of self-sabotage. It's subtle, it's sneaky. You start thinking things like, I'm not ready, or I always mess this up, or nothing good ever lasts for me. And those thoughts become a filter. So now even when opportunity shows up, you can't even see it correctly. You'll call a blessing a burden. You'll call favor a fluke. Not because it isn't real, but because your mindset hasn't made room for it. That's why recycled thoughts must be replaced with revelation, not reason. You can't rationalize your way into breakthrough. You have to renew your mind. The enemy doesn't need to destroy you if he can distract you with the same thought patterns that kept you bound last year. If you keep returning to the same inner script, don't be surprised when you keep living the same outer story. That's why some people keep experiencing different seasons with the same results. They changed their location, changed their relationships, changed their job, but they didn't change their thinking. They recycled the thought instead of replacing it. To replace a negative thought, you need to confront it with truth, not feelings, truth. Feelings will lie, fear will lie, but truth will set you free. You don't defeat darkness by ignoring it, you defeat it by turning on the light. That light is the word you speak. When a thought says, you're not enough, you answer it with, I am fully equipped for every good work. When your mind says, it's too late for you, you reply, my timing is divine and nothing is wasted. You don't fight thoughts with silence, you fight them with speech. Many people have mastered the habit of internalizing their doubts. They sit in silence and let those negative thoughts echo. But silence is not neutral, it's agreement. If you don't replace a lie, you're letting it live, and what you tolerate will dominate. That's why your inner voice has to become your inner warrior. You have to stop letting those old thoughts ride in the passenger seat of your future. They don't belong there. They don't qualify for where you're going. You cannot keep recycling pain and expect to live in peace. You can't keep recycling fear and expect to walk in faith. Every recycled thought is like dragging dead weight into a new opportunity. And you might still get to where you're going, but you'll be tired, bitter, and resentful along the way. You have to release what no longer serves the next version of you. That means letting go of the thoughts that used to protect you in survival mode, but now keep you from thriving. When a negative thought rises up, you have to be quick to identify it, challenge it, and then replace it. If you don't replace it, it will return. The mind loves repetition, whether it's healthy or harmful. And so you must become intentional about what you allow to repeat. The wrong thought on repeat becomes a belief, but the right thought on repeat becomes a breakthrough. The choice is yours. Your mind can be a battlefield or a birthplace, and the deciding factor is the conversation you have with yourself. Some people are recycling thoughts that came from trauma, rejection, failure, and fear, and they've carried them for so long, those thoughts feel like truth, but they're not. They're imposters. They are ghosts from an old chapter trying to live in your new story. And every day you let them speak, they rob you of clarity. That's why you must not only reject them, you must replace them. Fill the space they occupied with something bold, life-giving, and rooted in truth. That's how you detox your thinking and rewrite the narrative. This process takes discipline. It takes repetition. You have to train your mind to think higher. It won't happen overnight, but it will happen if you stay committed. When a negative thought tries to make a comeback, remind yourself, that's not who I am anymore. That's not what I believe anymore. That's not where I'm headed anymore. You have the power to rewire your internal dialogue, not by pretending the thought doesn't exist, but by refusing to let it live rent-free in your mind. Replace the lie with the truth every single time. Most people speak from memory, not from vision. They let their past become their language, their reference point, their script. They speak like what was is still what is, but the future doesn't respond to recycled regret. It responds to intentional declaration. When you speak from your past, you're always explaining, defending, or excusing. But when you speak from your future, you're creating, declaring, and commanding. That shift in language is a shift in direction. If your words are rooted in what hurt you, disappointed you, or limited you, you will keep producing more of the same. You can't keep telling your story from the place of pain and expect to produce power. If every sentence is laced with what didn't work, who let you down, or how far you fell, then you are anchoring your present to your past. Speaking from your future means speaking as if the promise already belongs to you. It's not faking, it's faithing. It's believing in what's possible so deeply that your language refuses to align with lack, fear, or failure. Speaking from your future is a discipline that requires vision, not just vocabulary. People often don't realize their mouth is working against their miracle. They say things like, I've always struggled with this, or that's just how I am, or this always happens to me. That's not identity. That's bondage. That's not being honest. That's being stuck. You can't prophesy your past and walk in a new future. You have to start talking like where you going matters more than where you've been. Speaking from your future isn't denial, it's direction. It's setting the GPS of your life with your words. When you speak from your future, you start making agreements with what's ahead, not what's behind. You speak strength even if you feel weak. You speak purpose even if you feel lost. You speak increase even if your bank account says decrease. Because the power is not in what you see, it's in what you say. Your words have to run ahead of your life and prepare the path. If your words don't go first, your breakthrough can't follow. You set the atmosphere with your language long before the manifestation shows up. Speaking from your future is not just about positive affirmations, it's about prophetic alignment. It's about making your mouth match your mission. That means even when your emotions try to pull you back into old patterns, your mouth pulls you forward. It becomes your anchor in uncertainty, your weapon in adversity. The enemy doesn't fear your past. He fears your future. And the moment you start speaking from it, you become a threat to every lie that ever tried to hold you down. You'll know you're speaking from your future when your language stretches you, when it feels uncomfortable at first, when it doesn't match your current circumstances. That's the sign you're not speaking from history, you're speaking from destiny. And the more you do it, the more normal it becomes. You'll start to say things like, I'm built for this. I'm walking in abundance. Doors are opening for me, and it won't feel foreign. It will feel familiar, because your mouth is no longer rehearsing who you were, it's introducing who you are becoming. People may not understand you when you speak like this. They might think you're being unrealistic, delusional, or arrogant. But what they don't know is that you're not talking to them, you're talking to your future. You're calling it in, you're drawing it closer, you're declaring what's been waiting for you to believe in it. You're not explaining your current conditions, you're establishing your future atmosphere. And that's not for everyone to understand, it's for you to embody. The problem with many people is that they let their past become louder than their promise. They let what happened dictate what's possible. But your past only has power when you keep giving it your voice. Silence what you need to heal from and speak only what leads you forward. The future can't be built with words that were designed to survive the past. Survival language must be replaced with success language. Pain talk must be replaced with purpose talk. That's the only way to elevate. When you speak from your future, you start anticipating instead of reacting. You start preparing instead of panicking. You wake up and talk like the version of you that's already free, already successful, already trusted, already thriving. That version exists. You just have to speak like you know it does. Stop giving life to the past that tried to bury you and start giving voice to the future that's trying to break through you. Your mouth must move in the direction of your mission, not your memories. This is how transformation starts. Not with your environment, not with your finances, not with your relationships, but with your mouth. If your speech is still shaped by who you used to be, then your life will follow the same pattern. But if your words start reflecting where you're headed, everything around you will begin to shift to accommodate the future you're declaring. You are either speaking as a product of your past or a prophet of your future. The choice is yours every time you open your mouth. 3 days of powerful self-talk can completely alter the trajectory of your life. It's hard to imagine that something as simple as the way you talk to yourself could have such a profound impact. But the truth is, the way you speak to yourself shapes everything about your reality. Your thoughts lead to your words, and your words shape your world. So if you're tired of feeling stuck, frustrated, or unsure of your potential, it's time to harness the power of your own voice to create the shift you've been waiting for. In just 3 days, you can begin the process of transforming your mindset, reprogramming your inner dialogue, and setting the foundation for a life of purpose and progress. The first day of powerful self-talk starts with intention. It's about taking control of your mental space and deciding that your inner voice will no longer be a source of negativity or limitation. Often we go through life allowing our internal conversations to be influenced by past experiences, mistakes, and negative opinions of others. These thoughts can easily become your default voices of doubt, fear, and insecurity. But on day one, you make a decision to replace those voices with empowerment. You choose to speak life into your own mind. You replace thoughts like, I can't do this, with, I am capable and equipped for everything ahead of me. The key to the first day of transformation is awareness. You begin by identifying the negative or limiting thoughts that dominate your mind. These are the thoughts that whisper, "You're not good enough. This is too hard," or "It's too late for you." These thoughts have been running on autopilot for so long that you might not even realize they're there, but once you shine a light on them, you can begin to challenge their validity. You can question whether these thoughts are serving you or sabotaging you, and once you start questioning them, you open the door to replacing them with thoughts that align with your greatness. By day 2, you start shifting from just awareness to actively rewriting your internal narrative. You start speaking affirmations with conviction. These aren't just words. They are declarations that will shape your identity. You speak over your life with intention. I am worthy of success. I attract opportunities that align with my purpose. I am powerful beyond measure. These declarations are not based on your current circumstances. They're based on your vision of where you're going. You're not speaking to your reality as it is. You're speaking to your potential, your possibilities, and your destiny. As you move into day 2, you begin to understand the profound impact that self-talk has on your behavior. You can't say, "I'm confident," and then act like a person who believes they're inferior. You can't say, "I'm capable," and then shrink back from challenges. Powerful self-talk requires alignment with action. So as you speak these positive, empowering words, you must also take steps that reflect your new mindset. You start showing up differently. You start taking bold actions that align with the vision you're speaking into existence. The words aren't just words. They're a blueprint for your behavior. Day 3 is about reinforcing the change and making your self-talk a habit. By this point, the shift is starting to feel real. You've replaced the negative thoughts with empowering ones, and you've begun to see small changes in your mindset, your attitude, and your behavior. But to make this a lasting transformation, it's essential to make this practice a daily habit. Self-talk must become a lifestyle, not a temporary fix. On day 3, you commit to consistently speaking words of encouragement, power, and belief into your own life. You build a mental routine that serves your highest good, a routine that you can rely on during both good times and tough times. As you continue practicing powerful self-talk beyond day 3, you start to notice something amazing. Your environment begins to shift. When you consistently speak power, you attract power. When you speak confidence, you start showing up more confidently in every situation. Your self-talk becomes the lens through which you view the world. You no longer see obstacles as insurmountable. You see them as opportunities for growth. You no longer see challenges as setbacks. You see them as stepping stones toward your greatness. This shift doesn't just affect your thoughts. It affects your actions, your interactions, and the results you achieve. The impact of powerful self-talk is cumulative. What starts as a 3-day challenge evolves into a lifelong habit. You begin to build mental and emotional resilience. You become more equipped to face adversity because you've trained your mind to focus on solutions, not problems. When you encounter difficulties, instead of falling into old patterns of self-doubt and negativity, you speak words of encouragement and strength. You remind yourself that you are capable of overcoming anything that comes your way. This positive internal dialogue gives you the mental clarity and confidence to navigate challenges with grace and persistence. One of the most powerful effects of powerful self-talk is the transformation of your self-pity. As you speak words of strength, confidence, and possibility, your perception of yourself shifts. You start to see yourself as the person you are becoming, not just the person you have been. This shift in self-perception is a game changer. When you believe you are capable of achieving greatness, You start making choices that align with that belief. You stop settling for less than you deserve, and you start attracting the opportunities, relationships, and experiences that align with your new self-image. By the end of the third day, you'll begin to notice that your thoughts are no longer automatically sabotaging your success. Your internal dialogue has transformed into a powerful force that pushes you forward instead of holding you back. You're no longer a victim of your circumstances. You're the creator of your reality. And while 3 days may seem like a short time to change everything, it's enough to lay the foundation for a new way of thinking and living. It's enough to start shifting your mindset and setting you on the path to a more empowered, fulfilled, and successful life. The next step is simple. Continue speaking life into your future.